Welcome to Magic Arcanum. I'm Ryan Gomez, and I am so glad you're here because it's story time. Well, last week we explored surprises in Magic and how they relate to the ongoing story. Today, I want to make good on my promise that Magic Arcanum will continue to talk about the lore. So, we're going to focus on my favorite planeswalker, Vraska. She's in a really interesting spot right now, and it gets even better once you understand her history. So let's go back to her first appearance in Return to Ravnica. Vraska the Unseen. This was our introduction to the mysterious planeswalker, who also was mentioned in the flavor text of one other card in the whole set. Her card raised more questions than it answered, and since the Magic story was kind of hard to get into back then, I think a lot of people probably missed Vraska's rise to power. So let's go over all that. Okay, first thing to note, Vraska is a Gorgon, which if you remember your Greek history, is a kind of monster with snakes for hair and can turn people into stone just by looking at them. And I would not mind having the snakes for hair. It would be an improvement at this point. Gorgons are actually pretty common on Ravnica. A group of them led the Golgari Swarm for a while, the Sisters of Stone Death. Eventually their reign came to an end, though. They were replaced by a guy named Gerard, Lich Lord. Gerard treated the Gorgons as weapons, and he would only kind of wheel them out of the shadows to deal with targets he wanted eliminated. And this upset Vraska because she thought she had more to offer the guild than her unique ability to turn people into rocks. And we're going to come back to that later. One day, a law was passed by the Azorius Senate making anyone bearing the mark of the Golgari a criminal. So Vraska and a bunch of her friends were rounded up and imprisoned without having actually done anything wrong. Naturally, as the prison fills up with Gorgons and zombies and insect people, riots start to break out. I don't know if you've ever been in a fight with a prison guard before, but they kind of get what I can only describe as the home field advantage. Vraska gets beat up badly, and as that's happening, her spark ignites for the first time. Now, when a planeswalker goes through intense personal trauma, their spark ignites, and then they planeswalk to a random destination. They can't control it. They often don't even understand what is happening. So Vraska got away from the prison riots, only to wind up somewhere much worse. She planeswalked right into an underground cavern with no way in or out. She survives being beaten by armed guards just to wind up in another type of cell. And it takes her a while to figure out what happened. It's not like there's anyone there to explain it to her. Eventually, she realizes she's not dead. She's not even blind. She's just stuck underground somewhere. And then she works out how to planeswalk. She doesn't go back to Ravnica for 2 years, though. When she does get back to Ravnica, she sets her sights on Jace, because he had become the living guild pack and was kind of the representation of all the dumb laws that had gotten her arrested in the first place. So she sets a trap for Jace, planning to coerce him into working for her. He's too smart and doesn't fall for it, though. He ends up kind of embarrassing Vraska, and the whole thing is captured in their duel deck. After that, we don't really hear much from Vraska for a little while. She took her big swing at Jace and missed, so she kind of vanishes back into the shadows of life on Ravnica. She does make a few new friends. First were the Crawl, a group of insect necromancers living deep beneath the city, and second were the House of Okran, mercenary assassins. Both are going to be relevant on our next visit to Ravnica, but we're not there yet. First, Vraska gets invited to the Meditation Realm, where Nicol Bolas makes her an intriguing offer. He wants her to go to Ixalan and retrieve an artifact, and in exchange, he will give her complete control of the Golgari Swarm. Vraska takes the deal because it lets her avoid a direct confrontation with Gerard, who still rules the Golgari. So she heads to Ixalan and becomes the captain of a pirate ship, as one does. And this is where she encounters Jace again, but this time he's not the brilliant living guild pact anymore. He is now a castaway, and he lost all of his memories, and he doesn't remember the fight he had with Vraska years ago. He also doesn't realize he lost his memories in a big fight with Nicol Bolas, who just happened to coincidentally send Vraska to the same plane where Jace now is after having planeswalked away from their giant battle. So Vraska actually takes pity on Jace and invites him to join her crew of pirates. This is where I really started to like Vraska. We get to see a side of her that is a great leader. She takes care of her crew, and they trust and respect her. Everyone feels like a valuable part of the team, and that extends to Jace. The two of them drink tea together, they study maps together, they work as equals. It's a really neat twist on the cold-blooded assassin archetype, and I think it gives Vraska some much-needed character depth. So over time, Vraska and Jace forged a friendship and even a bit of a romance, and then they reached their quest, the Immortal Sun. But before they could reach it, Jace fell over a waterfall, and all of his memories came flooding back. Vraska was worried that Jace would become hostile towards her again once he had those memories back of their earlier fights, but instead, he saw the good in her, and their friendship strengthened. With the Immortal Sun recovered, they realized Nicol Bolas was going to read Vraska's memories and discover the connection to Jace. They decide to selectively wipe Vraska's memory with a trigger in place to restore everything when they're reunited back on Ravnica. This is actually pretty sad and a really well done piece of storytelling. They go through this whole adventure together and become really close, but then they have to lock it all away. Pleased with the acquisition of the Immortal Sun, Nicol Bolas rewarded Vraska with the location of Jarad, already captured and ready for her to deal with however she sees fit. Vraska used this opportunity to seize control, something she had a bit of experience with after serving as a captain on Ixalan, and all the things that made her a great leader there are going to help her be a great queen of the Golgari, not to mention a great secret ally to Jace and the rest of the Gatewatch. From prisoner to pirate, from unseen to being queen, Vraska has had quite a journey, but her story is not over yet. Things are building towards a confrontation on Ravnica, and Vraska has an army of insect necromancers and mercenary assassins. The tide of battle may come down to Jace and his ability to restore Vraska's memories before things become hopeless in the battle against Nicol Bolas. And that's why Vraska is my favorite character. Over the years, she's gone from this kind of one-note assassin to a fair leader who is now carrying all these secret feelings for somebody she doesn't even really remember. Not to mention she shows up on some really cool cards now, like Assassin's Trophy and Vraska's Contempt, both of which show her more destructive side, and Undercity Uprising, which shows her leadership and the respect that she's earned among the Golgari. So what's your favorite Vraska card? Let me know in the comments down below, and make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the great stories you'll only find here on Magic Arcanum. I'll see ya!